The Falcon Azenis RT660 is the enthusiast choice for ultra-high performance. Engineered for predictable handling and stability, the RT660 provides maximum traction both on and off the track. Your competitive edge has arrived with the Falcon Azenis RT660.
My name is Farouk Kouaim.
Hey, I'm Justin Pollock.
What's up? I'm Jeff Jones.
Hey guys, Dylan Hughes, Formula Drift Pro 1 driver, and I drive Link.
I drive Link.
I drive Link.
I drive Link.
What's up, everyone? We're pumped to announce Ford's Drift to Dirt Sweepstakes, where you can win your choice of a newly redesigned 2021 F-150 Raptor featuring Fox shocks with live valve technology, 5-link rear suspension, and Recaro seats.
Or you can win a 2021 Ford Mustang GT convertible, which you can shred the tires with 460 horsepower and 6 styling.
All you have to do is head to drifttodirt.com and enter to win.
NGK makes ignition coils. Why? Because we prefer a running partner that can keep pace. We know ignition, and since our spark plugs don't run alone, we put some of our energy and expertise into making better coils. NGK ignition coils are engineered to OE durability and performance. And because we race to win, we improve the design, testing, and validation of our coils for better performance. NGK spark plugs and coils, better together.
Round 5 of the Formula Drift heads to the PNW. That's the Pacific Northwest.
Before we get started, I want to know one thing.
Hello everybody and welcome to Monroe, Washington. We are Evergreen Speedway playing host to round 5 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. That's right, we are back here at this iconic track. I am Jared Deanna, and sitting next to me once again is Mr. Ryan Sage. Look at that, not a cloud in the sky, but we're making clouds of our own. This might be the first event, announcer's curse, I'll just go ahead and say it. The forecast is saying no precipitation at all. So I'll just say the forecast is saying, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we have the making of a great event. It's hot out here. It's really hot, but it's ideal situations, ideal track conditions. What's going through your mind as we come into round 5?
Last time we were here, it was in September, rainy season. We saw Vaughn Gittin Jr. take 2 back-to-back wins.
That's right.
Denofa and him had a crazy battle in the finals for 1 round, and we saw a lot of really interesting things happen. Fast forward a year, we've gone through 4 rounds. We're now on the downslide halfway through the season of this championship. And there are a lot of things to talk about from a championship perspective. Yeah. I mean, literally the top 8 guys are within 100 points. That's 1 round's points worth of championship points. Chelsea Denofa not in first place even with those 2 wins. Odie Bakshi's getting that win in Atlanta, but Matt Field holding on to the championship right now with Denofa right behind him, and then Osbo and Odie and Vaughn Gittin Jr. rounding out your top 5. An incredible fight for the championship with all of those guys having truly high marks during this season.
You can get the overhead shot here, bird's eye view of this track, and today's Casual Friday as we have our KQF qualifying. But today, and again, we'll take the less than great 8, we'll slide them in, see how they land. Right now on paper, we're looking at how many drivers exactly, 33. Again, title battles heating up, Ryan, you talk about that. You know, Field, Denofa, Osbo, Bakshi's, and then you get other drivers, you know, like Chris Forsberg, Adam LZ, Justin Pollock. Are they salvaging a season? Maybe just looking to hold some carbon fiber, meaning get on that podium.
Well, we've seen attrition, you know, and vehicle malfunction problems raise their head quite a bit for some drivers. Chris is notably one. We saw Pollock last round with that engine going out, and then we've seen Ken Gucci with some consistent problems. Now's the time in terms of picking up where you want to find yourself at the end of this season to really push hard for that second half. But as we talked about, the championship for these top 10 guys is really so close because of the new point structure that allows you to kind of have 1 or 2 32 outs and still fight for that championship. We hope going into Irwindale that with this new point structure, there's going to be 5, 6, maybe 7 guys that have a mathematical chance for the championship.
Yeah, with that 100 points, you know, with the win, if somebody has just an absolutely detrimental round of competition and somebody rises to the occasion, that's really going to shake things up, and it really can, because given that we're switching Long Beach from round 1 due to COVID conditions now to round 7.
Yeah,
that's really going to shake things up. Again, we got here at Seattle, and here are our previous champions in previous years. From all the way back, Reese Millen, Sam Humanet was in 04, but you can see just some iconic names here. And Vaughn Gittin Jr., the most recent winner. Took him 10 years, 2010 champion, then back to 2020. So he's the defending champion, currently sits 5th in points, and he's only 76 behind the leader. Overall, taking a look at this course, what are you expecting here? What are the judges kind of requesting overall?
Well, you know, it's a really fast course. That bank has some banking, but it's more dissimilar to, say, Irwindale or even Erie, where you get a lot of compression towards that latter part of outside zone 1. The power alley is a make or break for almost every battle here. And then we have that kind of new left-handed extension that we implemented last year that was kept for this year that I think does make it more exciting. As we take a look at the Torque Drift preview, you can see the digital version of Chelsea Denofa going through this course. Right here, we start that first outside zone. Now, in qualifying, this zone is broken into 2 sectors. That would be the first one, and the second one starts right about here. But that zone itself is the entire bank. Now, that used to be a touch and go. That is now outside zone number 2, so that means the drivers do need to fill it completely. Outside zone 3, we see a lot of incidents there, especially in the head-to-head matchups. And of course, that infamous inside clip resulting in the pass last year from Justin Pollock and Vaughn Gittin Jr. A crazy occurrence here for fans that were either watching or just happened to be catching some of the after effects of that. Was just insane. So thanks to the guys at Torque Drift for putting that together for us. Gives you a great insight to not only how the track is laid out, but how the judges are approaching it overall and what the expectations are of the drivers.
Yeah, you can see the wall getting tapped there. And speaking of talking and getting into the wall, the judges are saying, yes, you can tap the wall, but if it affects the attitude of the vehicle, that was a large discussion today. And some things that you kind of take for granted that might be elementary or remedial for these drivers, they just want clarification. That's what they're really looking for, just making sure that they're doing the right thing. So this is how the track breaks down from a points standpoint. You can see the different sectors there, line, angle, and then style. You can see fluidity and commitment. So
yeah, and it's really important to kind of emphasize and continue to push down to the fans that those sectors and the points allocated for them is only relevant to today's competition. There are no points tomorrow. Tomorrow in tandem, it is a comparative battle between the lead and chase drivers as they perform their obligations and the responsibilities. But today we've got 100 points on deck possible for any one of these drivers. We will start in championship order and make our way down. And then, of course, the bottom 8 will have to do a second lap for those remaining positions. There will be one driver on the outside. It looks like we've got 33 drivers here today, so there will be one driver on the outside. As we take a look at the qualifying goals, running the designated line, maximize angle while maintaining momentum, initiate with a big rate to angle. That is really exciting to watch here at this track. And, of course, fast and smooth transitions.
Those are our qualifying goals. That's what the judges are looking for. Again, taking an overall look at the track. It's starting to fill up just a little bit here today. It's hot. It's a spicy one. I mean, I believe it's about 90 degrees here locally, and there is a nice little breeze going left to right, so that'll clear out the smoke when these vehicles start turning it up. And we saw they had a really sufficient amount of practice. I was talking with Chris Forsberg, and he was saying it's nice you're not hustling and kind of jockeying for those practice runs there earlier. So they had 9:30 to 1:30, and then right before we kicked it off here, local time 4:15, so 3:15 to 4:15. All right, and there's that critical part of the course right there on initiation. We talk about the cones, right? Kind of the 3-2-1 cones.
3-2-1, baby.
And where you can see the red ones down there on the track, but no later than that final cone right there where that track opening is. That is the power alley as they make their way off the bank into outer zone 2. And there is, as you said, Ryan, going from outside zone 3 to 1, there is some opportunities for passing here, as opposed to in Erie, we saw no inside clip, so that minimized any opportunity for passing.
Yep,
What else is kind of going through your mind as far as we coming in here? Matt Field leading the pack, points available. Who's really kind of done well here in Seattle?
Like Road Atlanta, this track has always had a historic feel to it, not just from what it represents in the Pacific Northwest, but the events that take place on course here. I mean, you can go all the way back to Pollock and Macquarie many, many years ago, ending up in the wall over here. Vaughn and Chelsea last year. Vaughn and Pollock last year. I mean, this place just, I think, elevates the level. And when you and I were cutting, promos for the TV show many years ago, we used to always talk about how crazy things happen at Seattle all the time. And on the downside of the championship, where this event is usually positioned, it seems like people kind of either pick up a gear or fade into the background. And when they pick up a gear, really interesting and exciting things happen for the championship.
Grab another gear, Gary. Yeah, I remember the Signal R34 big accident here up on the bank. That was and Daijiro Yoshihara. Yeah, he smashed the car here and actually wrote it off. The Falcon Tires discount tire Lexus IS. So yeah, real quick, got a question for you. The Aim High Air Force Trivia. What were the first African-American pilots known as? Flying Aces, the Mavericks, Eagle Eyes, or the Tuskegee Airmen? Again, this is our Aim High Air Force Trivia. Again, what were they called? The Flying Aces, Mavericks, Eagle Eyes. What were the first African-American pilots known as? Go ahead into the description of our live stream on YouTube. When we come back, we're going to be jumping into our qualifying. We kick things off with our current points leader. That is Matt Field, the beast from the Bay, piloting that Falcon Tires Drift Cave Corvette. We're here from round 5 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship.
Your body is a machine with 800 horses coursing through its veins. Ignite it. NOS Energy, human horsepower.
I'm Dylan Hughes, Formula Drift Pro driver, and today we're going to talk about Royal Purple HPS and what actually goes into it. There's a lot of talk about additives, and Royal Purple has its proprietary Centerlick technology. It is fortified with a high level of zinc phosphorus anti-wear additive for exceptional protection against heat and wear. Its high film strength improves sealing between the piston ring and cylinder wall for maximum horsepower and torque. Royal Purple HPS, race car technology for the street.
The Pedal Commander is the world's most advanced throttle response controller. It's a plug-and-play unit that unleashes the power of your vehicle. Has 36 total settings, is easy to install, and makes the driving experience so much more fun.
Picks up RPMs way better, kind of like a race car, it responds.
Order now and use code FD2021 for $30 off your purchase.
Welcome back here to round 5 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Welcome back as we are about to send it here with our first vehicle that is, again, Matt Field. This is the throwdown here at Evergreen State Fairgrounds and Evergreen Speedway. A lot of fans. So a lot of fans just reminiscing about years past at this iconic track. And like Ryan said earlier, I would definitely be in agreement. Just some wild things happened here on this iconic track. So really fun. You can see the pit area. Remember, be sure to join us at our future rounds of competition. Worldwide Technology Raceway. We got Streets of Long Beach, and of course, Irwindale, California. Irwindale Speedway playing host to the final round of the Formula Drift Championship once again. All right, the fans finding some shade here as it's definitely a hot one. But thanks for joining us here on Casual Friday. If you're here in the building, let me hear you stomp your feet real quick. I know you guys are hot, you're a little tired, but let's see how loud we can get. Make sure they can feel all the way across. Oh yeah, there we go. It's like a massager. I can feel it. I just felt my back crack.
Yeah, even a Friday crowd, that's a pretty good little presence there.
That was a stout. I'm a little bit nervous.
Your voice commands so much power.
No, you do. I mean, it's fine. Everything's fine, right, Ryan?
Yeah. I almost brought my fine pin.
Yeah, I mean,
I saw it in my closet. I was like,
yeah.
you know.
Where is that, bro? I haven't seen her traveling. Maybe just not comfortable with traveling. But it's fine. Again, I'd say that lovingly. But yes. So yeah, no, it's great to see everybody out here again, finding some shade, finding a good time, and it's about to be up in your grill. See the beer gardens are open, and the gentleman's about to body slam his own child. That's always a great sign. Our judges, we got Chris Yule. Yes, sir. Chris, that's you, buddy. You can see Ryan Lontaine right next to him, and Brian Eggert. So there you are. Our judges high in the sky, spotters right below them. The ears in they're kind of the eyes in the sky as well, and then also up in their ears, chatting with their respective drivers. Got the fans, they're hyped. We are live around the world. Mike Kojima, don't do anything though. Mike, don't move at all. No, I told you not to move. This is Jared says, so I didn't say Jared says. You know what I mean? So you just relax there, Mike. Okay, just kick back. Again, thank you for joining us here. I want to send a shout out to, I don't know if you saw Taylor Holt put it up that his sister and brother-in-law were in an unfortunate plane accident, and they were traveling. So whole family, our hearts and thoughts are with you guys. So again, rise to the occasion out here. These are our current standings. Once again, Matt Fields at 338, not too far behind him. And I got to tell you, the way Chelsea was driving out there, he is one to watch. I mean, Matt Fields really got a target on his back. What do you think, Osbo? You keep saying, and I think you said it quite a few times in Pennsylvania, Osbo-esque, the way he was driving, and he did get on the box in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I think Osbo is starting to peak, and hopefully for him, peak at the right time. He's given us a little bit more every single round, and I think the team has done the tremendous job to give him a tool that's going to be reliable enough to make it deep into competition. Now, obviously, he had a mechanical failure against Von Gittin Jr. And was able to move on into the finals, but not repair the vehicle in time. And what I heard from Steph afterwards is it looks like they understand how that came about, and they're going to remedy it. And that's kind of what happens, you know, with a newer program, is you figure out where you maybe have some weak points, and you can fix those things and come back stronger. And that's why I think he is going to be so dangerous when he has a car, which I think he does right now, and you've seen glimmers of it, that can do what he wants to do as a driver. And, you know, a lot of these courses are about, you know, taking it right up to the edge but not going too far. Right. Vehicle and driver as well. You know, we should also mention that this is going to be the first event that we're going to see Ryan Littrell in full competition, right? He didn't make it qualifying-wise in New Jersey, skipped last round. He is back now. That's why we have got that +1, and that there will be one driver standing on the outside after today for that 32 field. So I think there are a lot of exciting things to come about in this round 5 event, not only just for the general championship, but how things are going to be moving forward with the field of drivers that we have now.
Yeah,
I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, it's great. It's, you know, you can see all different tire manufacturers from Falken, Nitto, GT Radial, and yeah, I mean, of course, we got a few out there. They're going through, I mean, quite a few tires. I mean, each battle, they are absolutely ripping through them. So there is our tire cup. So Nitto, Falken, GT Radial, Nexon, and Federal join us here in the 2021 season. So Nitto and Falken really going at it. So some large variety here. What's going to be the X factor for Odie? Odie Bakshi's currently in 4th. Vonget Jr. right behind him. What's the X factor as we take a look at the Auto Cup, the auto manufacturer?
Well, I think what's the X factor? What does he need to do?
Yeah, I mean, because it's just, again, he's always there. He's got good chase runs. It's just you know, again, he had those 2 wins last year and it kind of just falls off, and it's.
I think he was on the wrong end of some, you know, controversial calls last round. I don't think he needs to change anything. What has been apparent in some of the dialogue that we've been having with the judges is that these drivers and these cars are different in so many ways, and they behave differently in so many ways. And the process for
can we talk about this run here real
sure.
quick? Sorry, just gotta get up. Matt Field, here we go with our first qualifying run. Matt Field getting really close to that wall, and that's exactly what he needs to do. Filling all that outside zone now, coming to the power alley. Outside zone 2, major correction. That's going to be a potential incomplete. You have to think about it. Is that a chaseable run? Is the dialogue and the term that we utilize, and I think that's going to be, might be playing a role here, Ryan. So sorry to cut you off, but this definitely warrants making this run call here.
Well, I think it does, and I'm glad that you picked up on it, because it was right in the vein of what I wanted to say in the dialogue with them, is that the judges have really almost had to memorize each driver and how behaves in certain instances. You have guys that are kind of pedaling the throttle a little bit. You have guys that have a really, really wide tire, like the Mustangs, and you have guys that are using a skinnier tire, and they are going to get different performance and different behavioral kind of mechanics out of the vehicle. And as we see Matt Field make an adjustment here, we can tell that even with all that practice, how challenging this course is. And like you said, that is going to be a big mistake. The question is whether or not it's going to be an incomplete. Looks like we are getting the axe on that.
It's an incomplete. We are getting the incomplete sign from the judges. They are saying that's an incomplete.
So that's the first time, I believe, this year that Matt Field will have to go to the bottom 8. That means that he can get no higher than 26th place if he does get a scored run the second time around. So that is you know, a tough break for him as a current leader in the series.
Wow, that really shocks the system. Here we go, Chelsea Denofa, BC Racing Nitto Tire, Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D. He's got 2 wins under his belt this season, and here he is dropping it. Really great angle here. And watch him, he throws some more attitude at the vehicle as he enters into that power alley. Great transition. Oh man, that got very hairy there. And looks like, I mean, the attitude of the vehicle, you saw going from outside zone 3, trying to make that transition into that inside clip, really went wide there, Ryan. Let's analyze this again.
Well, once I saw Denofa kind of initiate and be off the outside bank a little bit, look at the front right. See, it's down below that white line. I think Chelsea's actually doing that on purpose. I don't think the #1 qualification is that important to Chelsea anymore. I think what's important to him is that he chases first. That's what I've been hearing, and that's more important for him because he believes he can get through any field of drivers if he kind of has that as his advantage, and there's no points in qualifying. And the reason why we have that is because really points in qualifying have determined the championship historically.
Right.
What we saw last year without qualifying points is we had 5 guys that were mathematically possible to win the championship. And that's the reason we have the qualifying format we do, is to get the best possible guys competing against each other later into rounds. But at the same time, for the fans, if we have a 5-person championship going into the finals, that is incredible.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you always want to bring it down to the wire. So Chelsea Denofa, who is really talking up and one to watch, had some mistakes there. I believe it's a scoreable run. I've not seen from the judges on the clarity of that, but I believe that would be a scoreable run. It wasn't an immediate kind of giving us the goose egg signal. But Chelsea DeNofa waits his score, and you could see the other gold vehicle on the line. That is Frederick Osbo, piling that Rockstar energy drink. Nitto tire. Toyota GR Supra. All right, so Frederick Osbo ready to go. As we wait for Chelsea DeNofa's score. One more look here from Chelsea DeNofa, and Ryan, you're talking about his wheel being down, and like you said, you know, he wants to chase first, which is interesting. Look at that. See, you see him maxing out the angle, you see him grip, and it does throw him off that last outside zone. See how much grip he's got?
Way on the inside there. I'm just speculating that he didn't take the big bank aggressively. That was just based off of things that I've been hearing about his strategy going into qualifying, but certainly you're correct. No matter which way you do it, you know, there's going to be a mistake after outside zone 2, and obviously missing outside zone 3 is a pretty large mistake as well, at least for that sector in the line category.
Yeah. Yep. And here we are, the men's journal qualifying. So with an 80, Chelsea DeNofa with an 8-0 on his first qualifying run. We'll see where that lands him, because like you said, Ryan, 33 drivers in total. That's if every vehicle runs, including Ryan Littrell joining us once again, Trenton Beecham and Federico Sharifo in that Ferrari. All right, Freddie, waiting patiently or potentially impatiently. It's hot. It's hot in these suits. And here we go. The streets is hot with Frederick Osbo making his way through the chicane. Long run up. Really make it look easy. Let's see how, if he lives up to the hammer that he is, the Norwegian hammer coming through that outside zone. Good angle. Again, you can see him, that back bumper, little canard being shredded off, filling all that outside zone 2. Really good transition, the smoothest we've seen so far, going from 2 to 3, and now approaching that final 4th outside zone. Really well done, Ryan. That was, I mean, that's darn near perfect.
Yeah, and I know that Osbo and the team strategy is to go for that #1 spot. They want the best and easiest path, you know, to these events, and that #1 qualification, whether or not you have a bye, which we don't this round, you're facing the 32nd ranked qualifier, and most likely that's going to be somebody that you're going to be competitively well suited against. Osbo there getting deep into outside zone 2, just coming off outside zone 3 a little bit early there. You can see he gets that first half, and then right there just leaves about maybe 8 to 10 feet a little bit early. Nice job right on that first hash mark of the inside clip, and then fully filling that final outside zone with great throttle control through the finish line for your 3rd place in points right now, Frederick Osbo.
Ryan, there's a correction. There is a correction. Chelsea DeNofa's score was a 75. So if you're keeping track at home or here in the building, Chelsea DeNofa's score has been corrected. It is a 75.
Okay. I think that was, I think the initial input was the first thing that one of the judges put in, and then they changed the score. Is that right?
Well,
we're speculating.
We're speculating, yeah. Okay. To say the score changed.
5 points lower.
Yeah. All right, so again, that was Frederick Osbo waiting for his score as we talk about Odie Bakshi's pulling to the line. Just always just right there, always a contender. Love the way he chases. He's driving with passion. He's driving with, you know, just a certain tenacity to him, just the progression over the years. He will for sure be a champion at some point. Is it this year? Just putting it all together, like I said, that X factor of it, just like you said, in some controversial calls, some battles, some interesting, you know, kind of turn of events for him. So we'd love to see him get on the box here in Seattle at Falcon Tires Field Suspension S15. Originally from Lithuania, now living in Southern California. And there's a score in 85. So an 85 for Frederick Osbo. Again, we take the less than grade 8. So you really want to lock it in. So basically, we're going to have 25 drivers, and then we'll take the less than grade 8 to fill out the remaining 32. So 7 drivers of those 8. Odie Bakshi's on the start line. Looks like we are clear to send. Matt Sopa giving a thumbs up. Send it, fellas. Odie Bakshi's. Let's see how he handles this thing. Good initiation. You can see that just inching closer and closer to the wall. They make it look so easy, Ryan. See a kind of little hiccup there. Now dropping into that power alley, filling all of zone 2, now into zone 3. Massive angle, minimal corrections from those front wheels. Very smooth. That really comes down to style, right? That transition, that rate to angle, snappy, fluid, all those things. As Odi Bakshi's and his Falcon Tires S15, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely very Odi-esque there. You could see he was tiny little manipulations on the big bank to try to get that car as deep as he possibly could into that first outside zone. Strong initiation there. You can see he drops down below the white line for a second, then he quickly moves up. Try to stay as close as he can to that line. Tiny little manipulations that the judges are not going to ding in a big way. Great job on outside zone 2. On 3, gets in a little bit late, but kind of stays in there right at the edge. Nice fluid motion into that inside clip. And then this transition back around, puts it in the right spot there. Middle to deep part of outside zone 4 to finish up the run there for Odi Bakshi's.
Really well done there for Bakshi's. Do you think that's going to be higher than Freddie's? I mean, Freddie's got an 85 right now on his first run.
I think so, just because I feel like there was a little bit more line points to be taken there from Odi. I don't know if it's going to be super dramatic, but it's going to be right there.
90,
yeah.
90. I was gonna say 90s, but exactly 9-0. That's a 90 for Odi Bakshi's. So that's a very comfortable position to be in. Again, we'll take the top 25 drivers. They are one and done. Let me take the less than grade 8. What do you got?
What's interesting about this so far, 75, 85, 90, right? And we're going down the lineup here. There is a really big opportunity for one of the mid-pack guys to jump up, because usually we're seeing those high 90 scores, those mid-90s, very early on in qualifying.
Let's see how Vaughn Gittin Jr. fares. This is his qualifying run. Vaughn Gittin Jr., the defending champion, 2-time champ, gets all the way to outside zone, filling outside zone 2, just barely tipping that course marker. Now into the first and only inside clip. Kind of a bit of distance off between him. So look at this. 2 Mustangs. We saw Chelsea Denofa not get out to that outside zone. That threw him off. I don't think this is going to be in the 90s. Still an exciting run. I think he's in a comfortable position, but you know, maybe leaving a little on the table. What are you laughing at?
No,
strategy.
You have to wonder. I mean, again, totally speculating. You know, if there is a strategy here for these guys, what exactly is it? Where would they like to be, you know, in the bracket? Where do they think helps them? But if we just dissect the run, you can see clearly he's way wide on that inside clip. That's outside zone 2 there. Pretty good job. A little bit late into 3. And then we see that area there where he's way outside that inside clip. And he transitions early, almost like it was kind of, you know, purposeful.
Okay, all right.
Maybe not.
Yeah,
but
I mean, those cars they're not set up identical. I was just talking about RTR and the Denofa Gittin, but they did very similar things.
Absolutely, yeah. So we'll see where the score comes in, and you know, let's put it this way: however they qualified last round, it did well for them.
Right. All right, as we work our way down, we'll wait for Vaughn Gittin Jr.'s score. And look at this, Kazuya Taguchi currently sits 6th in points, and a real contender debuting that new car, VR-powered 86, the Up Garage ISR 86. And Kazuya Taguchi, love to see him get on the podium, and has just really progressed over the years and has seen many different vehicles. So 79 for Vaughn Gittin Jr. So kind of in that same vein of Chelsea Denofa. And was this from the horse's mouth? You said that's their ideal scenario of chasing on their battle?
No, I know it's pretty well understood that they prefer chasing. The only way to really guarantee that, though, is to qualify 32nd, right?
Right.
You may find somebody that qualified lower than you, depending on where you're in the bracket. But yeah.
Okay, I like it. Just maybe shows a little more dominance, just right out of the gate, just chasing somebody down.
You definitely have to have a lot of confidence in your ability, but we know that they've got a tremendous amount of ability, both of them.
Fact. I mean, between 2 wins of Chelsea. Kazuya Taguchi, here we go. Up Garage ISR 86. Throws it in, good angle from him. A little bit of distance off the wall, but fluid. Keeps it high, could obviously get a little bit higher. Now coming down into that power rally. Fills all that second zone, fills all the third zone, how's he gonna handle it with that D-cell map. Gets fairly close on the inside clip, so obviously not pedaling back at all. Filling all of it is Kazuya Taguchi. You can see him dropping the RPMs, getting to that last and final outer zone.
Yeah, and quietly having a really strong 2021 season. I mean, 6 in points right now and not that far out, has really kind of become comfortable in this vehicle and has showed it in a lot of different ways. Starting off mid-high line on the bank, just that right front down below that white marker, comes off the zone, still flying through that second outside zone in the decel area there where outside zone 3 brings those drivers and wraps them into that inside clip there. He does a great job there as well and finishes strong. So here it is from above. Let's take a look at his approach. Comes up midline, nice little initiation there. Wheel speed starting to pick up now. You can see very little wavering. Could have been a little bit deeper on this zone. That zone broken up into 2 sectors there. And then right through the middle of outside zone 2, basically completely filling outside zone 3, and a pretty nice line to hit that inside clip on that first hash mark. So I think he's gonna get maybe a point or 2 deducted on the big bank for line, but tremendous job the remainder of the course there, and we'll see how the angle and style judges looked at his overall run as we prepare for our next driver, who is Dean Carney.
Dean Carnage Carney, the Oracle Lighting Dodge Viper, had a good time with him last weekend at Grid Life, and here he is. And here's Kazuya's score, an 85 for Kazuya Taguchi. So we'll find himself in that 32 with the score like that, definitely. So as he drops into that number 3 position, you can see line, there's 30 points available, so 27, angle 26, and the final style with 40 points available, majority of the score. Dean Carney pulling to the line, ready to throw down on his qualifying. And here we go. Dean Carnage Carney pulling from the start line. Let's see how this Dodge Viper handles the big bank. Look at that, very settled. You like to see that from that Dodge Viper. He's had a few gremlins. Oh, and just as we talk about that, Dean Carney taps the wall, and that will be an incomplete and very unfortunate. Gutted for him, man. I was just talking about has had some kind of bad luck this year. But he's currently sitting in 7th, so definitely making a statement.
Yeah, this has been a strong season for him in terms of his overall point standing, and I think what we learned from his team in Orlando is just how much true grit him and his team truly have to get the vehicle back out on course after dealing with some mechanical issues. And we have to assume here that even with that hit, his team will get that car back in working order very, very quickly. He will, as you said, Jared, though, have to go to the bottom 8 to get that secondary run. And as we take a look at it, the 5 scores that we have in right now, Field and Kearney are the 2 that have incompletes on their first run, with Odi Bakshi standing out front, currently your leader with 90 points. Osbo 85, Taguchi 85, there'll be a tiebreaker there, and then Vaughn and Denofa 79 and 75 respectively.
All right, let's see who we have next, and that is Ryan Turk. So we have 2 incompletes, as you said, Ryan. Dean Carney. And Chelsea Denofa, both those gentlemen with their incompletes, as the New Hampshire zone. Ryan Turk warming up the tires on his gum-out Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback. He's on Nitto tires as he makes his way to the start line.
Yeah, I think the one thing we learned for fans that are tuning into the live stream, one thing we learned from practice from Ryan Turk is he is blazing fast through this course. Doing some things that very few, if any, drivers are doing, especially in the power alley, and being quick through there, minimizing those decels, even when there's a decel area, is a really great strategy as a lead driver if you can pull that off.
Being nimble, being fluid, you got to imagine just with the shortness of that back bumper, he is really flirting with disaster, when he comes and approaches this wall. Let's see how Ryan Turk goes down. That gum-out Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback now coming through into that power alley, Ryan. That's what you're talking about. Fills all of it, gets right into it, scrubs some speed. Got the second hash mark on that inside clip, and filling all of that final outside zone. Ryan Turk crossing the finish line.
And that's a good example there of kind of what I was referring to. The way that he re-engages from outside zone 2 to 3, back on throttle to get to that inside clip is so fast. Now let's take a look at the big bank here. Kind of rolls right into it, quickly generating a smoke line. Pretty consistent line overall. Little tiny adjustment there as he figures out where he wants to leave the big bank. He's eyeing up this outside zone. And watch this, right there, that's usually where a decel is, but he is so quickly back on throttle and gets to that inside clip. I think he's going to be really dangerous as a lead driver here. Great job on that outside zone 3 to finish things up. Here he is coming down off into outside zone 2. Look at it, threading the needle there. Comes off just maybe like 6 inches early, and then quickly makes that adjustment to fill most of outside zone 3, and then he's right to the inside clip number 1. So great job here overall by Ryan Turk, looking smooth, stylish, and I think this will be a pretty high score here.
I think it'll be a sizable score as well. I like the approach on that outside zone 4, just transitioning, and that's where we've seen the calamity in years past. As Turk makes his way back to his pits. Men's Journal knockout qualifying a 90. That is a 9-0, so another driver jumping into the 90s right there, gaining some applause from the audience. So 26, you can see 4, 2, and then 4 points missing on style.
I think the tiebreaker there is going to be style. I think he will be sitting in that number 1 spot with the tiebreaker.
Travis Reeder, I know he's got a lot of family here in the building, here in the Pacific Northwest. The Think ECU BMW on GT radial tires. He's running the LS, poking out of the hood, and Reeder in old red coming on through. Let's see how he handles this transition. Nice and smooth, very fluid from Reeder. Very tight to that front clip, tightest we've seen so far. See how he whips into that final outside zone. There you go. Look out for not falling prices, the Walmart greeter, but some high scores. Great run there from Mr. Reeder.
Yeah, and you're seeing an example, I think, why brands that have kind of decided to support Travis Reeder, I've got to be really happy with their decision here. Here's a guy that's just kind of getting his pro career started, and he's already in the top 10 halfway through this season. That is no easy task whatsoever, and it's with driving like this. A lot of confidence, aggressively getting into that first corner, trying to pick a line. Now, he could have been a little bit deeper there, but he knows exactly what he needs to do here, and then he's going to ramp this up into tomorrow's head-to-head matchups. Flying through that second outside zone. Solid fill there on outside zone 3. Very smooth and consistent, and a great transition from inside clip 1 all the way up against the wall there on that final outside zone. So pretty solid there by Reeder overall, and you can see why he is sitting in the top 10.
Yeah, really making a statement there. Brand new build from him over the years. If you can recall, the first ever driver to compete in an electric drift vehicle. So always great to see that, just kind of the progression of the sport, but goes back to combustion engine setup. And here he is in a brand new vehicle waiting to score, and there it is, an 89. An 89 for Travis Reeder and his Link ECU BMW M3. We're gonna have a real dogfight here. Basically, 80s, 90s, 75. We're up there. So Yves Meyer from Switzerland, piloting this Drift Force BMW. Vehicles being maintained by the Drift Cave gentlemen up there in the Bay Area, Northern California. And here we go, Yves Meyer into that first outside zone. I talked to him. He says, "I love the track, love the fluidity. Let's see if it loves him." Finishing out that first outside zone into the second one, the power alley. And now into that front clip right there on it. Properly executed and then just massaging it right in. A lot of finesse going to that final outside zone.
Yeah, you can tell he's having a lot of fun. I find myself on the receiving end of a really nice and pleasant fist bump from Yves that's always accompanied with a very genuine smile. He seems really happy to kind of be out here. And, when you're in the top 10 in the championship, that's a reason to be happy. And as we take a look at his driving, you can see he's trying to find a place here to exit outside zone 1 to get to that outside zone 2. He had a couple little flubs there on the big bank, but overall looking pretty solid here. Hits that inside clip, good transition back around. You can see nice and consistent, smooth movement right through the finish line. And this is going to be, I think, a pretty good score for qualifying overall. Did his job on that first run. There's so much pressure on this first run to get the run and the score that you want and try to avoid that bottom 8, that treacherous bottom 8.
As we get the overhead shot here for our next driver, it looks like Chris the Force Forsberg, 3-time champion, that NOS energy drink, Nissan 370Z on GT radial tires. Completed the burnout box. Just overlooking, what do you point out, Ryan?
I just never never really noticed that that water back there.
Yeah,
the
body water.
Just fly fishing.
Yeah, just go back there, just jump in, take a little bath. See me back there like Sasquatch, like the missing link. All right, missing link. Let's hope Chris Forsberg doesn't have any missing links in his run. Let's see if he links this first outside zone coming into it, as here is the score for Yves Meyer, an 86. An 86 for Yves Meyer. As you said, he should be pleasantly happy with that score. Currently sits 4th in points, that Drift Force BMW. From sitting in the stands to now, currently sitting in 4th, Yves Meyer. Chris Forsberg on the start line, number 64. Got another driver, had some fun with him last weekend. He's out the Ultimaniac. Right now it's all about the Nissan 370Z. Comes into that first outside zone, ripping. Good angle from him. Really deep angle from Forsberg, throws a little bit more out of it. And then into the power alley, fills all of it, transitions, fills all that 3rd zone. Chris always has a really good execution on this final outside zone. Just the way he transitions that car in, it looks just very smooth. Ryan, I definitely think this is going to be kind of the 90s range.
Yeah, and I think, you know, if I were Chris, I would look at the second half of this season as kind of, let's start over, you know, and let's give everything we have for this second half to make a comeback. Very rarely is he outside the top 5. Almost never, and I'm pretty sure about this, I don't think he's ever finished outside the top 10. He's currently sitting in 11th place right now, and it's primarily due to the mechanical issues that he's had. Now, this qualifying run is an exemplar of the car running well and him being able to drive the way that he wants to. I agree with you, this is going to be a high score, and if it is, hopefully he can take that into tandem competition, because he's always so fun and exciting to watch, but he just hasn't had the vehicle when he's needed it in some opportune times. We even saw it in the final of New Jersey, and there you go.
93. A 93 for Chris Forsberg. A 93 jumps that #1 spot, and definitely warranted with a great run like that. And like you said, Ryan, has had some bad luck. His throttle cable, it just keeps closing on him, so it loses power. He's had multiple issues of that, so it's been inconvenient to say the least when you don't have any power.
Frustrating.
Right. So here's our current qualifying leaderboard. As we've already seen, we're already into 11 vehicles, counting Chris Forsberg. So there we have, again, Matt Field sitting down there. Matt Field and Dean Carney with those incompletes. So they will automatically go to the second run, the KQF, and what I like to call so lovingly, the less than great 8. Here we go. This is Dylan Hughes. Dylan Hughes piling this fast orange Permatex BMW on GT radial tires. Now, looks similar to Travis Reeder's vehicle, but he's running the 2J setup as opposed to the LS, as Reeder absolutely whipping. You can see that signage flapping in the wind. Again, ooh, dips that back left tire out. There will be point deduction, but not an incomplete, as he came off steaming off of that bank in that first outside zone, filled all of the outside zone there. So well done. I got to imagine a lot of anticipation. He's just like kind of a caged animal, and you unleash him, he starts just running, starting to go for it.
Well, he's got to be in that mentality to be the 200-mile-per-hour man. So trying to hold that back and get some good points on the board here at Evergreen Speedway. Great job. Look at the front right there, mostly above the white line as he finds this spot here. You did say he exceeded the line a little bit there. He does fill the zone, but unfortunately the line that he was at didn't take him deep into outside zone 3. Was able to kind of get back around to that inside clip and then move into the final outside zone. Here it is. You can see that 2 tires off course there, does hit that marker, and then comes up a little bit short. He's right at the edge of that outside zone. Through the inside clip, looking much better, and then middle part of outside zone 4 to kind of clean it up towards the end. Dylan Hughes looking very aggressive, putting on a good show here for the fans and ourselves in the booth. But what will the judges think about a couple of those mistakes?
All right, well, the fast orange Permatex, see the 129, Dylan the Dozer Hughes, and that's John's trailer, by the way. He's put his name on it. Oh, you think this is your trailer? Yeah, it's got my name on it. John's. And Dylan Hughes with an 88. In 88, he's going to go back to the future with 88 miles per hour, 88 score. Dylan Hughes.
Yeah, and look at the judges definitely appreciating the style. Obviously, the biggest deduction there on line, that's got to be in sector 3, which is where that outside zone is.
All right, Dylan Hughes receives his score, and Jeff Jones. He was having some fun earlier today and got into, him and Dai Yoshihara got into it, but fortunately fixable. NBD, no big deal. Here he is, back at it. Jeff Jones. Here we go, 818. GT Radial, Edelbrock. 370Z. Jones. A little bit off that wall, maybe playing it safe here. But again, a lot of points at stake on that bank. Really missing that second outside zone. So might be having some power issues. I know I saw him in the pits earlier, hood popped quite a bit. But tell you what, gentlemen's probably having, I'll venture to say maybe the most fun, but I mean, Von Kitten Jr., it's called the Fun Haver Tour. I mean, literally. But Jeff having a blast out here.
Well, let's take a look at it. Getting over into that midline, back. Nice little snap there for Jeff Jones. You can see mid-high line on the bank, that front right just over the white line quite a bit, and then that second left goes down, so he kind of could have been a little bit deeper there, and you can see it does affect his ability to get into that second outside zone. A little bit better on the third. He got to the edge there. Second hash mark on the inside clip, and then the final outside zone, got in deep and then pulled into the middle section there. So I think he's going to get majority of his deductions in the line category. Notice as he initiates, you can see that front right below the white line, and then the left stays pretty much right on the line and then goes down for a second there. Seems like he's trying to find a little bit more settling in the vehicle overall and comfort, but does manage to do a better job on inside clip here and then this final outside zone. So we'll see where these deductions come into play. He will be avoiding the bottom 8.
And there it is, Ryan. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. The line and the angle, you can see how much points were deducted there. So an 80, that's an 8-0 for Jeff Jones. Still a competitive score and not an incomplete, but where he lands, we will soon find out. Adam LZ, always blowing up the internet. His loyal fans cheering him on. Adam LZ, he's now on Nitto tires. Arguably one of the best looking vehicles on the Formula Drift grid. Let's see if he can perform as good as it looks. Remember, Rookie of the Year in Pro Spec as Adam LZ comes off the big bank, massive angle from him. Rips into that second outside zone, into the third outside zone. You can see him turning back on the smoke machine, approaching that inside clip, nails it, and that final outside zone. Haven't had words with Adam yet on what he thinks of this track, but again, your 2020 FD Pro Spec Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, and the kid is no joke. He definitely deserves to be here. He's had some tremendous competitive accolades already and looking to make an impact here in qualifying at Evergreen. Let's take a look from above. Gets that nice big snap and then kind of settles into that line. You can see he's a little bit lower than he probably wants to be. Huge smoke line coming off the bank. Is able to get to 2 and 3 pretty well. Came off maybe 6 to 8 inches early, but nice tight line there on that inside clip. Straight line approach to that final outside zone, but he's able to manipulate the car even with that tighter line into the outside zone number 4. Here's his approach on the big bank, a little bit below that white line. That's an indication that you're not all the way up against the wall or at least a few inches away from it, but does a really dynamic job of being able to move the car into the right spots in those zones when the judges are really taking a close look at it, and especially from the drone overhead. As you said, the truth serum, you really get a good perspective of where he's going in an 87.
An 87 for Adam LZ, an 87 for Adam. And I got to make a correction. I said Rookie of the Year in 2020. That is an incorrect statement. He was 2019 because he did compete in the Pro Championship in our COVID season. Justin Pollock, JTP. He's on that hotline, that Falcon Tires, Roush Performance, Ford Mustang. Let's see what we got here. JTP, Justin Pollock. Yep, puts it down. Well done here, minimal corrections, those white wheels. Ooh, man, throwing some more stank at it. Is that gonna help or hurt him? He does get out to that second outside zone. Another, again, you talk about that rate to angle, Ryan. Justin Pollock really going for the gusto. Flirt with disaster. Remember, we didn't see him in Erie. Remember, he popped his engine before he made it into qualifying, so he's got to be ecstatic because he currently is sitting 13th in points.
Yeah, he had a really tough break in Erie, not able to compete at all. And Justin Pollock is the master, in my opinion, of slowing the car down with lots of angle at this course in particular. And where he does it is right here on outside zone 3. Massive angle to slow the car down. Now, that is a decel zone, so he's allowed to do that. I think overall, this is probably not exactly the run that he wanted, but we got little shades of kind of the brilliance that he can bring to the table. Comes off that first outside zone quite a bit early, and you can see he's trying to manipulate the vehicle to get to that outside zone. And by doing so, he's cutting things a little bit tighter than he needs to. Right here on this inside clip, he's much better, great angle there. But I think he will receive some deductions for some of the performance on the bank and some of those noticeable adjustments that he had to make in order to get to those zones on the power alley.
Yeah, so currently sitting 15th in points is race number, lucky number 13, as Justin Pollock heads back to his pits. Back in that hot rod in. JTP, where does he land? Is he one and done? I believe so, an 85. So a great score for him, an 85, puts him currently in 8th position.
Once again, just seeing the line having a real big impact for a lot of these drivers. This last few has been the area where the most deductions has taken place.
Michael Essa, former champ in the FCP Euro Liqui-Moly GT Radial BMW. He's clear to send. Let's see what you got. Michael Essa makes his way through the start chicane. Down that long straightaway in the back, initiates past the point of no return. Michael Essa, you can see getting closer and closer to the wall. Again, the judges like to see him close. You don't necessarily have to drag bumper, but if you kiss it without affecting that line, definitely will favor you. Really tied to that inside clip as Michael gaining a lot of applause. Yeah, go ahead and stop your feet if you feel like it. A lot of people here in the stands excited about Michael Essa's run. Let's take a look at it here again, Ryan.
Well, here he is. We start about a quarter way through the bank, and you can see he is just blazing there. Pretty consistent smoke line. Not a lot of movement, just a couple little adjustments there. It comes flying into outside zone 2, and that momentum is able to carry him way deep into outside zone 3. Picks up the inside clip with very little ease there, and wow, finishing very strong. You could really hear him using the throttle in the right ways, but aggressively in the right ways, which is kind of a next level up. And this part of the course right here is so challenging. He was a little bit tight there, but how he got through that section, I think, is going to bode well for him as a lead driver moving into tomorrow's competition. So I think the judges will like this run, and let's see where the score falls in.
Oh man, let's see. Again, based off the audience reaction, he's going to have a high score. Shout out to the Finch watching in Spain with Dude the Dog. You got Ryan Doyle in the race service, fellas. 95, 95. He jumps to that #1 spot. Woo, man. This audience could be judges. Hey, Chris, Brian, Ryan, you guys are fired. We're just going to use the judge. We're going to use the fans now as judges. You're cool with that? It makes sense. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, you're good. All right, Michael Essa leads the pack now. There's our current qualifying leaderboard. Essa, Forsberg, Turk, Bakshis, Reeder, Hughes, Adam LZ, our FD Pro Rookie of the Year in 2020 during our COVID season. You got Meyer, Pollock, and Osbo. So again, shout out to everybody watching. Hashtag FDSEA if you're watching, and tag @Formula D. Here comes Alec Robbins from Minnesota. Alec Robbins in the Facetta 50Z. See what Alex got. You can see locking up that front right Koenig. Whoa, flirt with disaster there. You saw him take some angle out of it, and that could get very hairy there. Definitely a fast vehicle, but fails to get out to that second outside zone, Ryan. Facetto Z now coming that final outside zone. You just see the RPMs dropping progressively. You know, you come out kicking and screaming, and then just got to really narrow it down in that final outside zone.
Yeah, the wall leading into outside zone #2, when a guy kind of drops down or reduces the angle and starts pointing a little bit closer to the wall, you definitely get a little bit worried there, but great bit of driving overall to make sure that he kind of got a scored run. Let's see if we can dissect what happens here. Mid-high line on the bank, you can see that front right down low. Right there, he starts pulling a little bit of angle out of the car. Got scary there for just a second, but he's able to kind of pull this off. He does miss that second outside zone and parts of, if not all of outside zone 3. So he was on the tighter line coming through the power alley there. Makes a better adjustment to get to the inside clip and finishes stronger on that final outside zone. We will see some deductions in the line and getting a little bit of a different perspective here, seeing how close he was to that inside clip. That's a great job there, but it came with the sacrifice of the second and third outside zone. We'll see how the judges think about the run here from Alec Robbins as we will continue to move on to the remainder of the top 33 drivers.
Alec Robbins pulling back into his pit area. Next up, we're seeing Brandon Sorensen, who is conveniently pitted right next to him. Alec Robbins with a 78. Great year, as Alec Robbins receives a 78, puts him into 14th position. We are whiz-banging our way through qualifying here. Let's see what Brandon Sorensen's got. Kind of the youngest driver ever to qualify in Formula Drift. So it's great to see him progress. 212 Performance BMW from Las Vegas. All right, Brandon comes out swinging, literally comes into that big outside zone. Oh, look at that, just bringing it and backing it up. Just a little bit further there now in that second outside zone. Really deep, just riding the course line. Absolute precision there, right on that first inside clip. Brandon Sorensen, man, solid performance right there. Again, gaining a foot stomp here at Evergreen Speedway.
Yeah, we've said it before, and we'll probably say it many more times before the season ends. The kid is definitely impressive. He has really taken charge of the program this year and put on some tremendous driving for us up here in the booth and the fans in general. And you can kind of see how comfortable he is in the vehicle. Very few mistakes on that really challenging bank. Precision driving to that second outside zone. The third, he could have gone a little bit deeper, but that's a nasty switch back to that final outside zone. Caught it perfectly, stayed on throttle, really looked smooth. I think this is going to impress the judges for sure, and a great job there by Brandon Sorensen.
Brandon awaits his score. You can see the flags blowing there, clearing out the smoke, so that's always nice. Little Mother Nature Zamboni. Got the fans there on the wall, just getting blasted with smoke there in outside zone 4. Do you have any kettle corn yet, Ryan? No? There's no organic kettle corn. It might be organic, I don't know.
I was thinking about you today, actually, about that. Here you go.
Oh, look at that. Brandon Sorensen with a 90, a 9-0. A 9-0. We think about organic, the Oreos.
Yeah.
Yeah, the magical Canadian cookies.
Yep.
And we make that sound real sus.
Decided to bring him in the booth tomorrow for you.
Okay, word. That's what's up. We're gonna get some organic Oreos. Those made a cameo in Canada, and everybody thought they were more magic and more organic than we described. Here's our leaderboard. You can see right there, Osmo, Taguchi, so Field and Carney. Those guys both have their incompletes. What's going through their mind? Racking their brains. Here we go. Rad Dan Burkett, originally from up here in the PNW, now living in Southern California. Rad Gear Wrench, Toyota Supra. Wow, really ripping. Look at massive angle from Dan Burkett. Let's see how he handles it coming to the power alley. Really well done. Could have been a little deeper, but fluidity mark is always high with Dan. Car placement, definitely leaving some points on the board. As you said, Ryan, line being really a focus. And here's Rad Dan Burkett. Overhead view, let's look at it again.
Yeah, the fans here, definitely a well-educated group, know a lot about the sport, have seen it for many years up here at Evergreen Speedway. And this course is so fun to watch. You can see Dan trying to get that right positioning coming off the big bank, had that little waver with the front end there. Better job on outside zone 2, gets right to the edge of 3. Nice and tight on that inside clip number 1. And as we get one more perspective from the drone, you can see he's just getting to the edge of 2, but does a better job on 3, leaves it a little bit early, but he's able to still run a good line through that first inside clip, and then strong performance there through that final outside zone. Good fluidity entering it. The line was on point, and he got pretty close to that wall and filled the entire zone, which is exactly what the judges are looking for.
As we progress here through our men's journal knockout qualifying, Rad Dan makes his way back to his pit area. And next up will be Simon Olsen, the Race Supply Toyota Supra, the GR Supra, another driver from Norway and another driver, coincidentally, driving a Supra as well. An 89 for Dan Burkett. Puts him currently into 7th position. Again, we're seeing just, are we gonna see like a 70 be, 75? I mean, again, early on, we saw that 75 there from Von Gittin Jr. Or no, 75 from Chelsea, and then 79 from Von Gittin Jr. So it's gonna be interesting. It might end up working out. You were talking about how they favor being a chase vehicle, so getting a lower score will then get them that chase option right out of the gate.
Yeah, if they match up with somebody that's qualified.
Back. Here we go, Simon Olsen. Simon Olsen in this brand new Toyota Supra. Great looking vehicle coming into that outside zone. Could definitely be a little bit closer there. I'm sure he's got a lot of nerves running underneath, in between his ears and going through his head. Just first time ever here to Evergreen Speedway. All right, so Simon crosses that finish line. And here we go, take a look at it again. Simon, Ryan, what do you think? What do you think of Simon's performance here for the first time ever?
Well, I like the initiation. He got back on throttle pretty early, and we don't really want to see big dips in speed after the initiation. We want to see them commit to that big bank. Right here, you can see a big, long e-brake pull to get himself into a better spot than where he was. And he's making a couple little adjustments here. This is obviously not going to be a bottom 8 score. He's going to be in the first pack. But a couple areas where he could clean up, but overall, pretty solid run.
All right, Simon Olsen awaiting his score. And you can see off in the distance, Simon brings it on through that 3rd zone. You can see tight to that. Still leaving some points on the table, but like you said, Ryan, it's not going to be top of the heap. But like you said, it's not going to be a bottom 8. Okay. Men's Journal knockout qualifying score for Simon Olsen, 87, and 87 puts him into 9th position. And our judges, Chris Ewell, Ryan Lontaine, and Brian Eggert, scrutinizing the runs, line, angle, and style. And here comes full pole, Taylor Hull, living in Georgia. The Intimidator ready to throw down. Comp cams, Nexen tire, kind of like ATS-V. And here we go, Taylor Hull. See how he handles it. Into that first outside zone. Quick little waiver and correction, but it gets him closer to the wall. Put some snake on it. Well done there, Taylor Hull. Gets that 2nd outside zone. Might have stayed in there a little too long, but no. He does transition, gets that 3rd outside zone, really tight to the inside clip, and brings it all the way through. Woo. Man, just riding that razor's edge, right? Just seemed like, the rate to angle, the snap, the transition, just seems a little more violent than previous Taylor Hull.
Hey, I'm fine with that.
Right?
I love the aggressive driving, and especially when they're on that razor's edge. You can see the initiation, I thought, could have been a little bit more aggressive, but he makes up for it by the proximity to the wall and kind of that X factor that we love to see of drivers getting right up there. Now, on outside zone 2 and 3 through the power alley, pretty good job there overall. Was able to fill it, have a nice smooth line, got back on throttle maybe a little bit later than he should have on outside zone 3, but he makes it look really good. I think the judges are going to reward this. You can see that smoke line kind of starts about halfway through as he tries to settle himself into exactly where he wants to leave this bank to head into the power alley. And right there, he does a great job of lining that up and still giving himself enough time to transition to hit that outside zone 3, still get that inside clip, and then really roll it nice and deep into that final section there, outside zone number 4.
All right, let's see what kind of score we're looking at here for Taylor Hull. That comp cams, making a lot of cool online content. He's having a lot of fun at home in Georgia. And 82 and 82 for Taylor Hull. and 82 for Mr. Hull in the Comp Cam's next entire Yellow Speed Racing Cadillac ATSV. Ryan, things really getting shaken up here. Jonathan Castro, Jordo Meteldam Toyota Racing, 86. Castro from DR. He likes the banks, he likes the oval tracks. Let's see how he fares. Here comes Castro. Point over turn right there. Definitely good angle, could be a little higher, could be a little more intimate with the wall. Into the second outside zone. Really well done there. Just a quick little drop in the RPMs, about the third hash mark on that inside clip, and now bringing it all the way around. Really liked how he managed the power rally. I thought that was really exciting. It was smooth overall. What do you think?
Yeah, I think on the big bank was definitely more along the lines of a conservative approach, making sure that he doesn't do anything that puts himself into the wall. You can see the initiation kind of just gets him set up on a midline, right? Almost both wheels from that perspective are down below. And as he finds this area where he wants to leave, he's going to start elevating the risk quotient right here. And he actually taps the wall, comes off the zone a little bit early. So he starts getting a little bit more risky as we get into the power rally. He does miss that inside clip, but as he gets into that final outside zone number 4, he finishes up strong there. Here it is again, a look from the initiation point. Immediately goes to that midline there. So that's where I would say is a little bit more of a conservative approach, at least on the big bank. But as he comes into the power alley, he goes right through that outside zone, and then boom, big angle, taps the wall, has to make that adjustment. This forces him off onto a little bit of a wider line, but then he quickly adjusts and it finishes strong on that final outside zone.
I'm going to bring in a word before that. I'm going to give you Jonathan Castro's score with a 79. A 79. The risk quotient. No, you use that, and I can't, in 18 years, I can't say that I've heard risk quotient before. But I like it. It was the riskometer.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Just clarifying.
We're going to bring it in.
I like
We're going to bring in some different items.
I like risk quotients. I'm cool with that. I like pig's feet. I like hog ball. You know what I mean? Nobody got out there on track for like 35, 45 minutes. Some stank on it. As Castro finishes, Rome Charpentier. Rome Charpentier, the garage stick. BMW E36. Yes. Let's go Rome. Rome was not built in one day. It was built over time. As here we are now into, barely dips that back left tire in as Rome comes across. Those Federal tires. Bring it all the way to that last outside zone. So talking about line, definitely exciting, but leaving some points out there on track.
Well, having spent some time in the recent past year with Rome, he's definitely one of those drivers that's got incredible charisma and really, I think, is settling into his position here in his role as a professional driver. And as he starts getting onto the big bank, you can see he's making an impact in front of the judges here. In the judging side of things, he gets right to the edge of outside zone 3, outside zone 2, fills outside zone 3 completely. Excellent job on that inside clip. And nice transition back around. It gets the rear of the vehicle right up against the wall, fills that zone completely, and does a tremendous job there in qualifying. Let's see what the judges think about Rome Charpentier's first run.
All right, Rome making his way back to the pits. Up next, we will be seeing Jonathan Nairn, Mr. Nairn. As there is the score coming in for Rome, an 87. An 87 for Rome Charpentier. As Jonathan Nairn, Chuku Racing, BC Racing, Federal Tires, Nissan S14. And Nairn is clear to send. I know he's coming out this season. Some hang-ups on suspension, but I'm sure overtime progressing. Let's see if what he's brought here to Seattle. Definitely a talented driver as Jonathan Nairn. Yes. Takes a little bit of angle out of it towards the latter portion of that outside zone. Dips that back left and transitions into that third outside zone. You can see him dropping the RPMs and then just mashing on it. Holy cow. That thing was absolutely just going through a time portal over there. Looks like Naren's getting that car figured out more and more.
Yeah, and it looks like he was pretty hyped up there on the course. You can see those front wheels locked up there as he tries to manipulate the vehicle as close to the big wall as possible. Comes down off the bank. Let's see where he edges up into outside zone 2. Also on the edge of outside zone 3. The inside clip here right at that first hash mark. Good little transition back around and taking another look at the big bank. You can see those front wheels dipping down below the line at the beginning, but then working his way up. Trying to stay consistent here for the judges. Accumulate as many points on that big long bank as possible. And you can see right there on 2 and 3, just gets to the edge of it, but mostly gets the vehicle through the entirety of the outside zone. And then 4, same kind of thing. Deep into the first part, gets mid, but still fills it all the way. So I think he should be satisfied with that run, and that'll definitely be one and done for him today.
All right, Ryan making some claims, huh? Naren, just go and park it, bro. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't make too many claims because we probably need to figure out where the 8, where the bottom 8 cutoff is.
Just go ahead and claim. claim away there, Sage. I mean, you are VP. I mean, whatever it says goes. You know what I mean?
You're right.
81 or 81. So
maybe too strong of a claim.
Yeah. Okay, guy. All right.
Well, usually it's like we've got like 4 or 5 incompletes. You know.
Yeah, we only have 2 incompletes. We're going to take the top 25 if all 33 vehicles run, which right now they're all here. 1 vehicle will be watching from the sidelines. So again, take the top 25. The remaining, the not so great 8 will have their second run. But right now, Dai Yoshihara, here's his first run. Is he going to be one and done? The turn 14 distribution Falcon Tire Subaru BRZ shredding into that outside zone. Yo, Dai Yoshihara possessed right now. Coming into that second outside zone, quick little yank on that brake. Wow, talk about some violent driving, but still smooth. Look at that, going from that third outside zone. Oh, there we go. An incomplete from what looked to be like #1 qualifier from Hero to 0. That will be an incomplete for Dai Yoshihara. Claims.
Yeah, no, I was prepping my words along the lines of kind of what you said. That was looking like the #1 qualifying run to me.
Yeah.
Just because the lack of mistakes, how aggressive he was driving, that exit from the bank there.
His transition, watch this again. I really liked his transition from outside zone 3 over to the inside clip.
Yeah, I mean, it's very smooth and Daijiro Yoshihara-esque on this run. And he's manipulating the vehicle in the right ways, but it's so unnoticeable. Ooh. It just looks so smooth. Then gets really close to the wall there at the deepest point of outside zone 2, pretty deep into 3. And then right here, let's see what happens. He gets bounded up here and then is not able to hold the angle and just spins out of it. So an incomplete for Daijiro Yoshihara with, what, 75 feet to go?
Dude, gutted. So here's the deal. He'll have his second run, right? So knockout qualifying. Now he can't get better than 26th or higher. He can't get better than 26th.
And that goes for Field and Kearney as well. Same situation.
So look at that. Our current points leader, Dean Carney, a former champ, Dai Yoshihara. They are going to the not so great 8s. So they have a second run, and you know, what's even crazier scenario is that one of those 8 drivers will not be competing head-to-head tomorrow. Joshua Reynolds from here in Seattle, Washington, driving the Event Sellersburg Drift Force BMW, operated by Drift Cave. Here we go. Here comes Josh. A little slow trickle off the line. Rolls into that initiation. Let's see what Josh has got. Not a lot of smoke being kicked off the vehicle. Comes off a little early there into that second outside zone. Just barely gets a tread in there. Gets all that outside zone 3. Setting himself up for the inside clip. He knocks it over, and then that final outside. I'm sensing a little bit of hesitancy here, Ryan, from Josh. Again, first time driving this course. No, he was here last year, right? Yeah, he was here last year, so I apologize. Josh was here last year. So, yeah, what do you think?
Well, I mean, yeah, last year we were dealing with, with the rain, so I'm not sure how much track time he actually got. There was a pretty sufficient amount of practice today, including 1 hour extra than what these drivers usually get. As we take a look at this run, let's see how he kind of exits the bank here. Looks like the wheel speed is a little bit lower than what we're seeing from other drivers, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, having tons of smoke all over the place doesn't necessarily have a huge impact overall on the judging, though it is kind of cool aesthetically. And it looks like he kind of initiated a little bit late. You can see he's not really generating a smoke line at all, and I have to wonder if maybe this is you know, something to do with the vehicle, because you would think that at least at some point we're going to start to see a bigger plume of smoke, but he may have just not been overall completely engaged there. Nonetheless, he will get a scored run unless he did not, unless he initiated past the last standing cone, which is certainly a possibility that I didn't look at completely closely, but it may be something that the judges noticed.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of looking at, just a slow trickle, and that's why I say the hesitancy. So here's a look from the drone.
So there's the last red, right?
Yep, right. 1, 2, and then it's actually 3.
He gets it, but it's like super close.
So the point of no return and you have to drift before this cone is actually right where you get all the signage. There's an opening and a gap, and once the billboards start again, that is when you need
exactly.
to
That's a good marker for people if you're looking at it. It's just that opening to the billboard.
When the opening ends, you need to begin.
And he did make it, but yeah, so it's definitely not one of the smokiest runs, and I'm just curious as to why.
There we are. We're up here in the booth. Josh Reynolds in 80 still puts him into 19th position. So you know there's some 70s down there, and of course some incompletes. Mike Kojima, who you texting right now? Who you calling? You talking to Di right now, or what are you doing? I just gotta know, man. Here we go, Jonathan Hurst from Paducah, Kentucky. The Cash Racing G37. This car is loud. He's not a loud gentleman, but I definitely like this dude, Jonathan Hurst. Let's see what you got here, Hurst. You smell what the Hurst is cooking? As Jonathan Hurst brings it consistent, could be a little higher on the bank, into that second outside zone, transitions into the third. Really big angle there from Hurst. Set himself up, massive angle here. Hopefully he comes unbound, and he does. Great execution there. He was Cash Racing, but I don't know if you've seen, he added the NO, so no Cash Racing, to the side of it, as the place erupts and vibrates with excitement here at Evergreen Speedway.
Yeah, he's really been enjoyable to watch this season. Has had some moments and some really important battles where I think he showed a ton of grit. Let's take a look at this first run here. Kind of rolls into it, gets to angle, is a little bit down on the bank, trying to get settled here, and you can see big smoke line developing. So definitely for him, a lot more wheel speed going on there than Reynolds in the previous run. Taps out wall, gets into outside zone 3, big angle through that inside clip, moving back around to that final outside zone, and looking overall nice and solid there from Jonathan Hurst. And it's interesting, Jared, depending on where this score comes in, we're still a little bit early here, but besides the incompletes, the lowest scores that we have are Chelsea DeNofa, Vaughn Gittin Jr., and Alec Robbins, along with a 79 from Jonathan Castro, which equals Vaughn Gittin Jr. Those are our lowest scores. Wow.
Wow. So, yeah, I mean, you got to think, you know, get into those 80s. I think that's really going to lock it in for you. And an 89 for Jonathan Hurst. That is a great score for, you know, again, says, let's take a look at that leaderboard, Ryan. Yeah, just go ahead and get comfortable. Get clapped out. Mike Essa with that leading the pack with that 95, Forsberg 93. See Turk Sorensen, Boxies, Reeder, Burkett, Hurst, Hughes, and Charpentier are top 10. But again, the cutoff number will take the top 25. So Olsen, LZ, Meyer, Pollock, Osbo, Taguchi, Hall, Naren Jones, Reynolds. Now this is where, you know, again, from down, it gets a little nerve-wracking. Wataru Masayama, Buy Now Japan, Sylvia S15.
Uh-oh.
Oh, buddy, and there's another incomplete. Oh, man. So maybe breathing a little sigh of relief is somebody like Castro with that 79, Ryan. As Masayama, that's now 4 incompletes that we are seeing.
Yeah, clearly something not right there for Masayama, very uncharacteristic, and having him stop on course there is definitely indicative of maybe something bigger than a driver mistake. And it looks like he's pointing to the track staff there. Let's see if we can see what goes on here. It looks like he tries to initiate, it doesn't really break free the way he wants it to, and then he has to double initiate, and when he does, the car spins out. So Very clearly a problem there for Wataru Masuyama, now heading off course. He will have that incomplete. And Jared, that leaves us with 5 drivers remaining. Kyle Mohan, Ken Gushi, Federico Sharifo, Trenton Beecham, and Ryan Littoral rounding out the final drivers of the afternoon before we get to the bottom 8. And that cutoff is going to become more clear as we start to finalize those last 5 scores.
Getting a lot of fans watching from all over the world, especially from Ireland. Jason Butler from Chuck G. This is a Formula D. Thanks for joining us and watching us. Chuck G drifting, shout out to y'all. And again, the boys at Race Service. Now, coming to us from Long Beach, California, Kyle the Menace Mohan on the start line. Car number 99 in that RX-8, the Mazda Tricks, renewable lubricants. KMR RX-8. See if SOPA, yeah, checking the track, making sure that it's good. So on initiation, make sure that that Masuyama didn't drop any fluids or anything on the track. Thank you to Toyota. Toyota providing us the Tundra this whole season. Toyota and the brand new Tundra. Also the new Tundra just being dropped. Check them on IG, so thank you to Toyota.
Driven by Kevin Wells to every single event this year.
Toyota providing Kevin Wells a set of wheels for every round of the Formula Drift Championship. But he's taking that thing to some sweet backdrops across the country.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
It's been fun to watch it. Kevin's corner is always very exciting.
Is it though? Exciting? Exciting? I don't know if it's like, you know.
Why are you clowning his show?
I'm not
Are you mad
clowning.
you don't have your own show?
I don't have my own show. Nobody's-
Jared's Joint?
Whoa, Jared's Joint. What are we talking about here?
No, you know, like you know.
Oh, got it. I thought keeping it legal. I thought you were talking about cannabis.
Let's do a pitch meeting. You know, let's figure out what it's going to be.
Let's work it out. Yep, riding shotgun with Jared Dienda. Let's go. Yeah, if I had a film crew following behind me, I think people would watch it.
It'd be pretty
I just
exciting.
don't have time to edit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, going golfing on Sunday, going crabbing on Monday, buying some New Balance on Tuesday. Just dad life, dad things. You know what I mean? This is what we do. Hey, by the way, Lorette Nichols not here with us this weekend, but we have another friend of ours, Jen Horsey, who's X Games medalist, right? Right? No? Right? Is that true? Crash. Yeah, the Crash. That's right. The Crash heard around the world, the X Games and Rally. The Endo. The Endo, but you're in a car. You want to do that in a bike, not in a car. But Jen Horsey will be our field reporter tomorrow. So thank you.
Looking forward to it.
All right, here we go. Back to the action. Back to the action. The KMR RX-8. Here comes Kyle Mohan. Goes for the Maji entry into the big bank. See how he handles it. Starts out high, drops down, but then works it back up. The lone rotary in competition comes now into that power alley. Puts his vehicle all the way in there in that second and third outside zone. Really tight to the front clip. This track really favoring Kyle's style. And that will be an incomplete.
Oh, tire off. Was it? Yeah.
Oh, boy. Oh, yep. Tires off. Back left. That broke off. Thumbs up.
Yeah, immediate thumbs.
Yeah, so glad. Hey, round of applause for Kyle Mohan. Unfortunately, that will be an incomplete for him.
Yeah, it looks like as we take a look from above, I think he just pushed a little bit too hard from inside clip 1. And the transition there really has got to be timed in a very fine way. And he goes a little bit too far into outside zone 4, and that wall is not going to move. Let's see if we can take a look at the run leading up to that. Pretty good start here by Kyle. Mid-high line starts to move above that white line. Getting some points there on the big bank. Kind of slows down there before he gets into outside zone number 2. Filling that pretty well. 3 as well, right up against the wall. So I have to imagine it's going to be because of the tight line here in the late transition. And that looks like it's about it. He may have just thought that he was a little bit off the wall more than he actually was, because he was starting to get back on throttle there. And I think if he knew he was going to crash, he would have stayed off throttle and continued through the run. But watch right here. You're going to see
his transition.
He transitions here, and he's off throttle, off throttle. He's picking up the throttle right there, and then taps that left rear, which takes off the tire and unfortunately gives him an incomplete and moves him to the bottom 8.
Well, surprisingly, this is our first hiccup here in qualifying. I mean, we ripped through 29 vehicles, including Kyle. But again, we're taking the top 25, the less than grade 8. So now, Ryan, we have 5 incompletes. So 6, 7, 8. So as you take a look at our leaderboard, there are the names you see, Sharp and Tier rounding out the top 10 as we go into 11 through 20.
I think the cutoff, probably from a points perspective for these remaining 4 drivers, in their minds is, let me get above 80.
Right.
You know, let me get above.
That'll solidify.
Let me get above 80 to make sure. Because as you said, 5 incompletes, and then we'll go to the scores. We've got Denofa with the 75, Gittin with the 79. We've got Robbins with the 78, and Castro with the 79 as well.
All right, well, when we come back, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 more drivers left for their first qualifying runs. 5 incompletes, so essentially 3 more spots. 4 drivers left. Who's going to the not-so-great 8? And we'll find out in just a little bit as we come back. Next on deck, the OG, Ken Gushi, in his Greddy Toyota Gazoo Racing GR Supra. When we come back here to round 5 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship.
Falcon Azenas RT660 is the enthusiast choice for ultra-high performance. Engineered for predictable handling and stability, the RT660 provides maximum traction both on and off the track. Your competitive edge has arrived with the Falcon Azenas RT660.
At Holley, we're gearheads too, so we decided to create a one-stop shop for all things automotive, a place we call Motor Life. Motor Life is Holley's new completely free digital magazine that houses the how-to stories, car features, news, and videos that car folks love. To check it out, head on over to motorlife.com and don't forget to subscribe.
Formula Drift is evolved into such a horsepower-hungry motorsport that a lot of us run not only high displacement engines, but we run some sort of force induction. I run a supercharger. A lot of guys also run nitrous or a combination of both. I run actually a Vortec YSI supercharger that is very large. It makes a lot of horsepower at high RPM, which means just like a huge turbo, a big supercharger doesn't make a whole lot of power at very low RPM. And with drifting, we need power throughout the whole spectrum of RPM, literally from 2,500 RPM, till 7,500 RPM. There's just times where we go into hairpins that, we downshift and we go up down to like 15 or 35 miles an hour. So we're all over the spectrum of RPM. In order to make horsepower, even at the low horsepower or low RPM range, I spray nitrous at very low RPM up until the supercharger really takes over and makes a ton of power. That's kind of the best of both worlds. And a lot of guys do that.
Running a Garrett turbocharger back in the day, it was really cool. And it was a T4 rear, something around a 40 on the front side, made about 12 pounds of boost. At that time, we were pushing around 700 horsepower. It mostly worked pretty good. I had a lot of top end at the time, but not as much bottom end. So I really needed to make a switch. So one of the switches was also just because it was so quiet, you could barely hear me. Kind of like when you listen to Dye's car run by. That thing's nice and loud, but it gets real quiet after it passes you. Really wanted to switch to a supercharger unit because I knew it'd be nice and loud and I'd get that low end torque that I really wanted. So now we're running a 2300 unit from Edelbrock on this 6-liter motor, pushing about 820 horsepower, about 890 foot-pounds of torque. This thing is great. I get full 17 pounds of boost, right around 3,000 RPM, all the way up. So my curb is literally like whoop, whoop, straight across. Tons of power. AFRs are usually pretty low, and air intake temps always pretty good. So very consistent setup, easy to run, no nitrous, just what you see, what you got, and it runs great. Didn't want to run nitrous because that's almost a whole other guy just running a bottle back and forth. The amount of power that we're making and the amount of vacuum and boost, we would need a guy switching a bottle like every 2 laps. So didn't want to have that much of a headache, and this supercharger does everything that we need. Biggest difference between a supercharger and a turbocharger is turbo is going to definitely give you a lot of power up top, but in drifting with the big tires and the heavy girl that I got, I definitely need more boost down low to get all that straight torque so I can really just drop the clutch in fourth and dig out of the hole.
I run a 2JZ with turbo, but in the past I was not running nitrous, and now I am running nitrous, so we're going to talk about the pros and cons of that. I run a stroker 3.4 Brian Crower stroker 2JZ, high compression with a Borg Warner EFR turbo. It's a great power plant. It works good. It's pretty responsive, but in drifting, you need to like flash your tires immediately, break them loose so that you can go into drift. There's times where you wish that it just had a little more torque or instantaneous spool, and I put a nitrous system on the car, and then I've been refining how I do the nitrous when it comes on and whatnot, and I've noticed that it's a lot better with nitrous because you can have it come in at, you know, anywhere from 0% to whatever 100% TPS, so I pick somewhere in the middle. I'm not going to tell you guys where it is, but where I get into the gas and there's no boost yet, it's going to spray nitrous to help build the boost, and little things like that are beneficial. I don't run the nitrous all the way out. I just have it to help spool the turbo, because once the turbo's alive, the car makes 1,000 horsepower, and that's plenty to blast the tires. But when you're like in between or transitioning behind someone and you have to grab handbrake and you're not on throttle, you need to instantaneously spin the tires again when you get back on throttle, and that helps. So big improvement with nitrous, so I'd say nitrous is a plus, and if you haven't had nitrous, you're gonna need nitrous.
Back. We are here on the line, and we got Kenshiro Gushi. Kenshiro Gushi currently sitting 30th in points. He wants to make a statement here. He needs to make a statement. He's back there quite a ways. Just put it out there, probably the worst season he's ever had in Formula Drift history. So I really would like to see him rise to the occasion, and have a one-and-done run here at Greddy Toyota Racing GR Supra, initiating into that big outside zone, locked and loaded. Comes down now, a little correction there, goes in that second outside zone. Ooh, flirts with disaster, but no, you can see that bringing it, massaging it in that second outside zone, past that front clip, and now into that final outside zone. Looks like Ken Gushi will have a full pull, and that's a great statement, like I said, that we requested, and he delivered. Let's take a look at it again here, Ryan.
Well, there's a really heavy burden on Ken Gushi's shoulders. This is going back to Kyle Mohan's run, but thinking about Ken Gushi's run and the burden that he's carrying of running his own team, his own program, having a couple nickel parts fall apart for him, and costing him opportunities to make it deep into competition. That time around, though, pretty solid run from him overall. I think the judges will enjoy that and give him a good score. We've also had an update to one of the scores, and Jonathan Castro moved from a 79 to a 78. So that's going to drop him down one more point and put him close to the bottom 8. Here's Gushi. Nice initiation, gets right to lock there. Good throttle, smoke line starting to pick up, and you can see he's pretty balanced here coming off. He does make that adjustment right there and slows down a little bit before outside zone number 2, but is able to fill it as well as be right at the edge of 3. Good motion into that inside clip in this last outside zone. Pretty well executed there, maybe came off just a little bit early. Here it is from the sky. You can see looking comfortable on that initiation, locked into the line, and he just makes this little mistake right here coming off the bank. You can see he's going to kind of angle up a little bit and make that adjustment, but he's still able to hit outside zone 2 and 3. 3 just a little bit shallower, and then on the inside clip, well positioned there, and we haven't seen too many guys have problems with the final outside zone, and Ken Gushi did not as well, so I think this will be a good score from him, and definitely a weight off of his shoulders.
All right, well, Ken Gushi awaits his score. Where are you thinking, Ryan? Number-wise, talking scores?
I'm going to go 86.
Okay. 84.
Oh, making claims.
Yeah, and Kemp, our director, said 83, so split the difference. 84 for Kenshiro Gushi, puts him in a 17th position, and that's a great place to be right now, given you only have 3 more drivers left, 5 incompletes. So Castro's watching kind of feverishly with that 78, but also we saw that 75 from Chelsea Nova. Look at 1 and 2 in points, Ryan. Matt Field and Chelsea Nova are most likely right now going to the not-so-great 8 and having to complete a second qualifying run.
It's unbelievable, and it's one of the consequences of this particular qualifying format, which I think has made things very exciting because people do push hard on that first run if they're going for these high qualification spots. However, if they go too hard or they maybe are too conservative, they have that risk of being into the bottom 8.
Federico Sharifo as he exits that first outside zone 1, 2. That is real deep on that second outside zone, exploding it. So going way off course is Fedi. And then the Fiorella makes his way into that final outside zone. So is that a chaseable run? And did that have 3 tires go off? You know, just you got to think, if that's a wall, if that's dirt, it gets a little hairy.
Definitely one of the farthest lines that we've seen go off in outside zone number 2. You can see that he's actually kind of mid-high line. He's making a couple little adjustments there, trying to get settled and pick that line going off of the big outside zone into the power alley, but he pushes pretty wide there prior to outside zone 2. 3, he's coming off a little bit short as well, so you can see how the line pretty much dictates where you're going to be at unless you really manipulate aggressively the vehicle to get into those outside zones, but then you just have that fluidity that kind of suffers there a little bit. Here it is from the sky. We'll get a really good perspective here. You can see it's 2 tires and almost half the car length going off right before outside zone number 2. And then he has to kind of work his way back and try to get that score to stay out of that bottom 8. Some of the fans asking how do scores change for Jonathan Castro from a 79 to a 78 when the judges are putting in their scores for each of the sectors and they're adding up the math, and if they see that the score is different on the screen than when they put in there, they can let us know that the official score is what they put in their official scorebook. So that's what we see there, and look at this, 77.
Ooh, so look at that. So again, we're taking 25 or higher. So Fedi right now is on that bubble. So again, a 77 for him. So right now, again, 1 and 2 in points. Matt Field, Chelsea Denofa. I mean, Trent Beecham and Literal really need to make some mistakes. I mean, well, Field's already going in, but Chelsea with that 75. And this might play to his favor, like you were saying, the strategy of having Chase. If you qualified, and you said the perfect scenario of always, what a flex to get 32nd.
Well, who's number 1 qualifier right now? Michael Essa. So if the strategy worked out.
Yeah, could be interesting. Trent Beecham, here we go. Trent Beecham making his first run here. Is it going to be one and done for Mr. Beecham? Shimmies his way through that outside zone, now coming into the power alley, that second outside zone. Just barely dips his tread in there, that next tire now coming into that first and only inside clip, and Beecham rounding it out, powering through. Got a full pull there from Beecham, so nerves kind of going away there for Beecham and the Clonex Racing next tire Ford Mustang.
Well, trying to stay above the 80 threshold if he can. Didn't get full lock there on initiation, but quickly kind of fell into line here and really manipulating the throttle aggressively to get to that second outside zone. The 30 comes off a little bit early, was right at the edge there, so we're seeing some drivers sacrifice some line points, much tighter on that inside clip, and yet another driver that's not too troubled by that 4th and final outside zone. Threshold for moving on after this first run looks to be right around that 80 marker, so he's looking to get higher than that, as we've got quite a few drivers that have incompletes with just 1 driver left to go. That's Ryan Literal, looking to make it into the top 32 for the first time this year. He will be our final driver of the first lap after we get the score here from Trent Beecham.
Trenton Beecham awaits the score. The Clonex Racing next entire Ford Mustang gets an 80, so very comfortable spot for him. No bubble to be burst there at all. He's going to be seeing head-to-head competition. Who will be? TBD. As we have our final driver, Ryan Littoral, that Power Stop Brakes S15. Our Men's Journal Knockout qualifying continues. Again, each driver has one run, some of them one and done, but we take the bottom 8 of the 33 and they have a second run to field and seed the remaining spots. Again, 26 through 32. So that means, do the math, 8 drivers, 7 spots, 1 watching from the sidelines. Hopefully Ryan Littoral puts together the Power Stop Brakes GT Radial Silvia S15 from Riverside, California. Goes ahead, initiates, and he's taking a bit of a lower line here. Let's see how he handles going in the power alley. Swings it in, grips up, and that's an incomplete, Ryan. So unfortunately, that will be an incomplete. That is 2. We got 6. We have a total of 6 incompletes. Now it is do or die. Speaking of die, he is one of those drivers that has an incomplete. So again, unofficially, Matt Field, Dean Carney, Dai Yoshihara, Kyle Mohan, Wataru Masayama, and Ryan Littoral. Those are for sure going to have their second run. That's 6. So we have 2 other drivers, and I believe it was a 75 of Chelsea Denofa, and maybe was it a 77 that we just?
I think it's Denofa and Sharifo.
Yeah. So that's unofficial. We'll calculate all this, but super bummed for Littoral. He's just struggled with this vehicle. You know, just this whole season, just, you know, thrashing to get it together. Overall, just would love to see him put down a run.
Yeah, and something similar happened to him in New Jersey where he had some mechanical problems, I believe, on run 1. He had to go to the second run, laid down a tremendous qualifying run at that point, but because of the situation where we were at in the timing, we were only taking the bottom 2. And so he got cut out there, was not able to move on. Here he has a real opportunity, but he's going to have to do it in the second run and make the best of it here. Hopefully the car holds up to his specs and gives him everything that he needs in that second run.
All right, we'll take a short break. We're going to confirm on who is going to the not-so-great 8 here in the Men's Journal Knockout qualifying. Like I said, we have 6 incompletes. They are for sure going to that not-so-great 8. 7 drivers, 1 will be watching from the sidelines. Who will be when we return? We'll see the second runs from those 8 drivers here at round 5 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship, baby.
Your body is a machine with 800 horses coursing through its veins. Ignite it. Synergy, human horsepower.
I'm Dylan Hughes, Formula Drift Pro driver, and today we're going to talk about Royal Purple HPS and what actually goes into it. There's a lot of talk about additives, and Royal Purple has its proprietary Centerlick technology. It is fortified with a high level of zinc phosphorus anti-wear additive for exceptional protection against heat and wear. Its high film strength improves sealing between the piston ring and cylinder wall for maximum horsepower and torque. Royal Purple HPS, race car technology for the street.
Link ECU produces standalone engine management technology with a range of products that allow you to unleash the power of your engine. Acting as your car's brain, Link ECUs control electronic fuel injection and ignition. A magnitude of sensor inputs and outputs ensure your engine exceeds your expectations. Built-in safety features guarantee engine protection, and data logs keep you informed on its performance. Smoke your tires, not your engine, with a world-leading Link ECU.
Round 5 of the Formula Drift heads to the PNW. That's the Pacific Northwest.
Before we get started, I want to know one thing.
Look at this sight, the sounds. Welcome to round 5 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship, or welcome back as we are entering into the not so great 8. 8 drivers in total will be seeing their second runs in qualifying. Notably, 1 and 2, that is Matt Field and Chelsea Denofa. They will be our first and second drivers. Now, keep in mind that they cannot qualify higher than 26 positions, so 26 to 32. But here is where the bar was set. Michael Essa, Brian, walk us through it.
Yeah, incredible opportunity granted to him that he took full advantage of. We got halfway through the field. Michael Essa sitting 16th place in overall points, comes down and throws a blazing qualifying run that really impresses the judges. Only 5-point deduction overall across all 3 categories, putting him as your #1 qualifier with a 95.
So Ryan, we were talking earlier before we even started qualifying. We talked about, you know, with qualifying not having points reflected in where they rank, right? But if you win the event, 100 points. So we talked about, you know, Matt Field leading, right? So what if he has a devastating scenario where he fails to have a second qualifying score? That would be the opportunity that all the other drivers would like to see.
Yeah,
right?
I would say so.
But like, here's your points leader. He goes out, fails to make top 32.
There's a drama and tension on these second runs in any qualifying format, but I think your point is even a little bit more a little bit stronger than in the old school format where you had to get that second run.
Right.
Because remember, we haven't had 32 or plus more drivers for a number of years.
Right.
It's always been like 28, 29, sometimes 26.
Wow.
And there's always those buys. In this one, we know somebody's going home, but in this case, the championship leader right now has to get 1 point on the board.
That's right. That's right. Has to get a point on the board. Matt Field, where's he going to land? Falcon tire, good cave, Warlegs on. Those 4-star wheels go round into that first outside zone. Really tight, proving a point. Now remember, he can't qualify higher than 26. That's where he had the hiccup on his first run. He gets out that second outside zone. He is definitely flirting with he went really wide, exiting that third outside zone. There it is. He's got points on the board.
Watch, it's still going to be like a 90.
Yeah.
It was that good of a run.
It was good.
He maybe, like you said, he maybe pushed a little bit wide after outside zone 2 with a ton of momentum. Excuse me, 3. But he still was able to kind of apex that and get back to that inside clip. Incredible job on the big bank, right? Like very little deviation from that white line that we see the front right wheel ride on. And then 2 and 3, I mean, that's just smoked right there. Absolutely phenomenal. And here you can see he actually makes that line, that wider line, look really beautiful. So I think this is going to be a really high-scored run. Unfortunately, as you said, it's not going to get him any higher than 26.
Congratulations, you got 26. which you know, you never want to hear. But this might be a scenario that he is looking forward to, and just actually, like you said, strategy of Denofa, chase first, and RTR is what you're describing to me. This could be strategy as well. Men's General Knockout qualifying 95. So this is reminiscent of JTP. Remember, JTP didn't get he had a incomplete on his first run, comes back, and he would have been #1 qualifier. But obviously, you know, we did see a higher score than that, but still.
Well, I think that actually would have been #1 qualifier because the style score was 37. I think it was 36 for Essa.
Oh, dang. Yeah. Shots fired. Here we go, Chelsea Denofa, speaking of style. So run 1 was a 75. If he gets that again, he'll be in the mix.
Don't matter.
Don't matter. Austin Mata's not here. Chelsea Denofa, the BC Racing Ford Mustang RTR Spec 5D. Quick little correction there from the front wheels. Now, look at that. He really does that every run. He just throws a little bit more angle at it. And now coming to the inside clip. Wow. Massive angle. Looked like he parallel parked that thing. And now the bleachers erupting for Chelsea Denofa.
Well, he's holding the 75, so he's in. It's just a matter of what's the difference between the 75 and this next run here. Is it going to beat the 95 of Matt Field? I don't think so, but obviously a very aggressive run that we typically see from Denofa. Early initiation, I mean, starts his initiation at the 3rd standing cone and then just blazes through the big bank. You can see he makes a couple adjustments. He dips down, comes back up. So he's going to lose some points there, but just burns through that second outside zone, a little bit late into outside zone 3. Super tight on that inside clip, and then very smooth transition there to finish up outside zone number 4. It will be highly scored, in my opinion, even with the mistake on the big bank there. That'll come up in that particular sector, but I don't know that it's going to best the 95.
Let's see what Chelsea gets from our judges, Chris Ewell, Brian Eggert, and Ryan Lontaine. So next up will be that of Dean Carnage Carney. Carnage living up to his name, gets into the wall, straightens him out, and shoots across the middle of the track. A 92, so still very respectable. So 95, a 92. So looking good so far here for these gentlemen. And again, next up is Dean Carnage Carney, piloting that Oracle Lighting Dodge Viper as the Pedal Commander burnout box. He exits out and hands it out. All right, we are clear to send. Matt Sopa on the start line. Pointing at him, making sure you're good. Thumbs up. Clear to send. Pattern is not full. Flight path is yours. All right, let's see if Carnage can put it together. The next tires go ablaze here on that big first outside zone. Oh man, making me nervous. Now comes down into the power alley, fills the second outside zone, the third. See how he handles this inside clip. Brings it in tightly, well done. And that final outside zone, we got a score on the board, my friends. So no longer does he have an incomplete. He does have a score. Would love to see him get in the 90s.
Well, most definitely not succumbing to the pressure here. And this second run with an incomplete is pressure filled for sure. Sticks on that midline, blazing through the course. We've seen him go so fast this year. Gets into that second outside zone right at the edge. Same as outside zone 3. Gets on the throttle a little bit late there, but is able to still get to that first inside clip and then finishes up strong as the 4-3 car passes the finish line. He'll have a score in the books. And let's find out where that slots him in to 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, or 32.
Thanks for counting that for us. I appreciate
problem.
that. I forgot what order. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, so Dean Carnage Carney awaiting the score. And there it is, an 86. Hopefully he doesn't get 86th. As next we'll be seeing, I believe it is Daijiro Yoshihara. Yes, it'll be Dai Yoshihara because Federico is down there. He is the other driver that received the low score, not an incomplete. So Daijiro Yoshihara, run 1, again, incomplete. And Ryan, we were both in agreement there that he was so close to having what I would consider #1 qualifying position. Just the attitude, that X factor, he had it, filled all the outside zone. I mean, he just had it all together.
He really did, and you have to wonder, or at least imagine, that it's probably not going to be that this time around unless he's really feeling risky. But you know, he just needs to get a score. The problem is he doesn't have a backup.
Right.
So I feel like the right move here is just get a score on the board, and you know, you're competing for one slot that potentially could put you into 33rd. So it does need to be a good, respectable score.
Don't get cocky, it could get rocky. Here we go, Dai Yoshihara on that outside zone. Looks pretty similar to what we saw earlier, and that's actually, yeah, very similar, because he even tapped the wall on the first run. Now kind of playing it cool, past that inside clip. Now bring it all the way through, and there it is. Dai Yoshihara puts it together at turn 14 distribution. Falcon Tires Subaru BRZ.
Well, he does come through here, Jared. A pretty good run from Daijiro Yoshihara. Still smooth and silky like we see from him all the time. And giving us quite a performance here, even on a run where there's a lot of risk. Right up against the wall, but stays on throttle through that second outside zone. Nice smooth transition back around. Eyeing up a place to attack here on that inside clip. Circling back around and then filling that final outside zone about midway through. So overall from Daijiro Yoshihara, I think goal accomplished here on run number 2.
All right, Dai Yoshihara with a 94. Look at this. Dai Yoshihara with a 94, rising to the occasion. So we're halfway through our not-so-great 8. That means, obviously, doing the math here, Ryan. That's four drivers left, just want to make sure. But as Dai Yoshihara completes his run, next up, we'll be seeing Wataru Masayama, the Buy Now Japan Silvia S15, Kyle Mohan, then we'd see Federico Sharifo, and then Ryan Literal. All right, Masayama. Masayama, thumbs up. Here we go. What do we got? So quickly, Masayama showed that he had a mistake. He's rolling very slow here. Oh boy. Oh, I don't. Oh. Yeah, he looks like he's having some major issues. Yeah. It's a bummer seeing this. Yeah, that's gonna be incomplete. Yeah, he's got a one tire fire. You can see that back left is ripping, but that back right ain't going nowhere. Yeah, so you know, that's gonna be double incompletes for Masayama. So he is going to be watching from the sidelines, unfortunately.
I mean, really, that just means for the remaining competitors, 1 point will get the job done.
Yeah.
Because now he's got 2 incomplete. So if you're Mohan, if you are Sharifo, if you're a Literal, it's actually Sharifo's got a 77, so he's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, just the last 2 with incompletes. They need 1 point.
Yeah. So theoretically, Federico Sharifo could just forego his second run.
He could.
With that, what did he have, a 79?
77.
77, thank you, a 77. Can't even read my own handwriting here, but a 77. So he would currently, right now, be put into 32nd, depending on how the other drivers fare. So again, Mohan, incomplete. Literal, incomplete. They need to get scores in order to, because we will not advance a driver if they have 2 incompletes. Hence, you know, why Masayama for sure will not be competing in tomorrow's head-to-head.
Right. So like you said, there's always the theoretical possibility that you could have a bye run, but it has to happen with drivers that have those 2 incompletes.
Yep.
And now, you know, I think all these drivers can definitely make scored runs. So it's just a matter of focusing on the moment here and saying, hey, you know what? I just need to get a real kind of like middle of the road score in that'll put me into 32. I don't have to worry about missing competition.
Right. What are your thoughts on the outcome of today's qualifying, and what are you expecting for tomorrow's head-to-head?
Well, yeah, I think the bracket is going to be super interesting because we've got heavy hitters at the bottom end of the bracket. You know, we've got Chelsea Denofa and we've got Matt Field. That is going to be the biggest variable, I think, in competition, at least initially.
Right.
From what we're seeing, how that plays out in the bracket is going to be very clear as soon as this qualifying session is done. And we'll update the live bracket on the website as soon as these scores become official. And we will probably have something at least that we can show you in broadcast that'll give you a general architecture of how it's coming together. So we'll have an idea, and I think that's going to just play into everything tomorrow.
There you are. You're looking at the, again, the not-so-great 8 drivers there. We have yet to see Mohan and Literal run. Masayama with it incomplete. His name will go gray because he'll be sitting in the bleachers, unfortunately, for Masayama. But now we are seeing Kyle Mohan jump into that Pedal Commander burnout box. And there's Kyle Mohan heading on in. Remember, tomorrow is the main event, the essence, as Ryan likes to say, the essence of drifting and Formula Drift, the head-to-head competition. Remember, tell everybody to tune in, watch, share with all your friends and family across the globe. I know on Formula Drift's Instagram they posted up the schedule, so make sure, don't text us, say, what time is it here in Bangkok? What time is it airing in Switzerland? The math is already done. It's right there. Just go ahead and look at it. Right? How many DMs do you get? But do you do the math? Tell me what time it'll air and where I'm sitting currently. And there they are. Tune in this weekend. Again, we're currently in the Pro Knockout qualifying. Tomorrow, 11:45 local time. Again, Pacific. That's West Coast in the United States of America. And there we go. Kyle Mohan. He needs to get a score on the board. Got thumbs up. The KMR. Kyle Mohan Racing. Renewable Lubricants Mazda Trix RX-8. The number 99. Coming down through the straight. And goes into that first outside zone. Quite a bit of distance off the wall. But like you said, Ryan, just needs a point. No incomplete for Mohan. And he'll be seen head-to-head. Into that third outside zone. And this is where he got into the wall. He's gonna be a little more timid this time, and he does complete it. So Kyle Mohan.
He's in, baby.
He's in. Mohan showing his hands.
Definitely in the show. It's all about positioning now, as he will erase that incomplete on run 1, give himself a scored run here, guarantee himself a slot into the top 32. You can tell from this approach, this is really just about making sure that he gets a score on the board. Try not to take an overt risk in any section of the course, especially near a wall, but still doing a pretty good job there on that third outside zone, smooth through that inside clip. This time transitions much earlier, gives himself enough room right up against the wall, and finishes up the run. Kyle Mohan here, moving on into the top 32 for tomorrow, and it just becomes about positioning.
Ryan, we were hearing murmurs of Federico potentially not partaking in a second run. He might. Well, he's up next. They're saying he might, but regardless, there were murmurs that he wasn't going to have a second run. Okay, we are finding out that he is running. So Fiorella, the vehicle, Federico Sciarrifo, the driver, the 599 GTB Ferrari, always definitely dropped some jaws from a standpoint of you don't see many Ferraris out competing in drift competitions.
I'm not sure if this is like reading into it too much as we see Fede coming up to the line now, but I think that he might have been asking that maybe because there could potentially be something that he's concerned with on the car. And if he was not guaranteed to make it into the top 32, it's definitely worth risking the run. And in this case, you know, he's in 100%. He's got the 77, but maybe that read is a little bit, you know, too aggressive on my part, and he just felt like he didn't need to do the second run for another reason.
You know what they say about assuming, right?
Yeah, making claims.
Just claiming away. Just claiming. All right, so theoretically 2 drivers left, as we did see Federico make his way to the start line, and after him, we'll be seeing Ryan Literal flying the flag of that RB Army. A lot of dialogue going around that RB2J battle, flying the flags of their respective favorite power plants. All right, so let's go ahead and get Federico up in there, all up in that Pedal Commander burnout box. Ryan Literal waits there in the wings. All right, Federico getting booted and suited. And Ryan Literal, just, I feel like this is a moment of zen right now. Just, Ryan, look at the cones lying down.
Yeah, it's very nice.
And the breeze.
Very peaceful.
A wise man once said.
I don't want to say anything either, but I think.
But you're going to.
The announcer's curse from you has not made its way.
No. But it will now that you've doubled down on it.
Right.
AKA, we're ripping through qualifying. We have 2 more drivers, but we were scheduled to go all the way till 7. Yeah, what's up, man? Rocking that Up Garage hat. How you doing, man? Thanks for joining us out here. Really appreciate it. Is that Danny George down there on the right? Hey, shout out to Bill Diggs. Bill Diggs watching from Hawaii right now. Here's how the Pro and Pro Spec competition points are divvied out. 100 points for first, 91 for second, third and fourth, because there's no consolation battle, 80, and you can see fifth through eighth, 67 points, and ninth through 16th, 52 points.
Yeah, and it's worth re-mentioning that this is a much more compressed championship points allocation from years past. Usually a 32 out basically is pretty much a shot for the championship. Now you can afford to have one, and that's given a lot of drivers a much better shot to capture a championship with 8 guys, right in that 100-point range with more than half the season left to go. So really exciting way to kind of hopefully end the season here in 21, but we still have a long way to go. And this driver right here is up next, sitting on a 77, Federico Sharifo, trying to better that in his final run of the afternoon.
All right, Fetty warming up his tires. Federico utilizing, I believe, Nexen tires. And again, a lot of pressure on our final driver, Ryan Literal. Just has been, as you say, struggling with his vehicle, with just some unfortunate circumstances, being knocked out. We knocked out the bottom too, but right now all eyes are on the Italian driver behind the wheel of the Italian sports car, Federico Sharifo. First run was a 77. Would like to better it. This is a good opportunity, if he was having some issues, to make sure they're worked out. As Federico Sharifo makes his way into that first outside zone. You can see him consistent. Obviously could be a lot higher. Got the green, white, and red on the side of the car and on the wheels as they spin and go round through that third outside zone, and that will be, don't know exactly what's going on there, but we'll soon find out here, Ryan.
Well, we saw him dropping that, actually 2 tires in the first run before outside zone number 2. This time does something similar, but on the course, the edge of the course after outside zone number 3. So Fede maybe still getting set up a little bit, or wanting to get the setup a little bit more dialed in. We do have that secondary practice tomorrow before a tandem competition. Well, let's take a look at the run here as he comes down in the power alley, just kind of going through the motions here and really not able to use that angle to slow down, and nearly comes to a stop. I have to imagine that if that was that might have been an unchaseable lead. So, they're probably talking about it, but that right there, that's when you pass as a chase driver.
And it's an incomplete. I'm seeing the goose egg from the gentleman, and that's what I'm asking myself and kind of posing to the judges who are across the room is, when you're chasing that thing down, you're coming out of outside zone 3 and you're trying to shoot over to 1. He would have got past. And then Justin Pollock would have ran back into him and said, no, not today. I'm joking.
Today.
I'm just kidding, Justin. Just kidding, just kidding. All right, let's end this with an exclamation point. Ryan Literal, you need 1 point to get into competition. Your power stop brakes, GT Radial, Sylvia Eswatine. Do it for the RB fam, the RB Army. And here we go, Ryan Literal initiating into that first outside zone. again, Masayama, as long as Ryan Literal gets a score, he will be seeing head-to-head competition tomorrow. Very low down on the bank. Now coming to that second outside zone. Not even part of the equation as far as that outside zone goes.
3,
2, and 1. And Ryan Literal will be getting a score, lackluster score, because, I mean, low on the bank, going into outside zone 2, didn't even have a relationship, didn't even call outside zone 2, just left it, and then going into 3. Let's take a look.
Yeah, it's pretty clear that this would not have held up in other iterations of qualifying, and this is definitely not the run that we saw from him in the second run of the New Jersey qualifying session. This is him just trying to get a score on the board, prepare for tomorrow. Tomorrow's the most important day. Now, obviously, it's going to play a role in the overall seeding. Right now, the lowest score in the second run of qualifying is actually, let's see, 77. So he's got to get, if he gets below a 77, he will probably be the 32nd ranked driver.
Yeah, I mean, you got 74 from Mohan, Fetty 77. Where is Literal going to land?
You know, so he's got to get below, if he's below a 74 then, right?
Yeah, below a 74. So hopefully he does get a score. Not seeing the goose egg being thrown up by the judges, so there it is, 68. So he will get that 32nd spot, as Literal will be seeing head-to-head competition. He'll be going against Michael Essa unofficially, but wow, so some pretty straightforward qualifying there, Ryan, from 33 drivers. Unfortunately, one driver will be watching from the stands tomorrow, and hopefully it will be packed. But here's our unofficial bracket here. Like I said, unofficial, but like I said, Essa versus Literal. Let's talk about Matt Field. Where's Matt Field? Points leader will be going against Dan Burkett. Currently third in points, Chelsea Denofa. Chelsea Denofa unofficially, again, will be going against Odie, who's in top 5. That's going to be thick. And then you got to think about, let's talk about Von Gittin Jr. Von Gittin Jr. is Rome Charpentier. That's our top 5.
Yeah, we'll have this available on the results page of the event page of this Evergreen Speedway round. It'll be up in just a few moments once we get all this official. I think what'll be more interesting than the 32 battles is where this is actually placed on the bracket, what quadrants some of the top guys are in, and what other battles we can expect, but some doozies in top 32 nonetheless.
Yep. Well, thank you guys and gals and children of all ages. Thank you so much for joining us here at Evergreen Speedway. Round 5 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Remember, tune in tomorrow for a head-to-head. Thank you to our whole team. Thank you to our judges. Thank you to our drivers. Thank you to the teams. I'm Jared Dion on behalf of Ryan Sage. We'll see you tomorrow. And, of course, Jen Horsey will be joining us down on the ground. She'll be giving some insight here on what's going on in the pits. Round 5 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship continues tomorrow. Head-to-head. Check the schedule. Check the IG. Peace. Send it.